Well, hello friends, and welcome back to DevTools Hacking. Today, we are going to work a little bit on file management for projects. So I want to be able to, introduce a new file in my project, add an existing file, some things like that. And before we start though, let me just show you where the Hack Studio is currently at, because I did a little bit of work on it that I was not filming. And it's mostly ergonomic stuff. So I tweaked the, the style here, for instance, over and over. And this is where it's at right now. I'm not in love with it. It's just it's just where it is. I made it possible to have bold fonts, not just special colors. And I also made it update automatically while we're typing. So you can do cool things like blah, 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 blah. And it will automatically relax and, as you can see, color it correctly. So that's new. And I moved these things down here out of the way. So when you actually try to run, they'll come up and take space, but otherwise they actually hide so that you don't have to wait, what was the thing? Oh yeah, Control-Shift-X, since up here, hide action tabs. Anyways, just like these little ergonomic things. So what I want to do now is I want to have the ability to add more files. Of course, the files are just, this is actually the file list of the project. This is the project file at the moment. It's just what it looks like. So adding a file is just as simple as putting it in this file. But we want to be able to do that through the GUI, right? So, and likewise for adding a new file. So I imagine that we would have some kind of action like add file to project and add existing file and add new file, for instance. And maybe that's what these should be about. I'm not quite sure. Or maybe this should allow you to, I don't know, I just added these icons up here as kind of placeholders, but the more I think about it, the more I feel like you're always working on a project, right? This is not an editor, this is like a studio, so you're always working on a project, so it's not really useful to be able to open something that's not part of the project. Then you can go off and do that in some editor, because here you're always in project. At least that's how I think about it. Maybe that'll change, but let's take these and turn them into like create new file and project and add existing file to project. Maybe we'll need different icons for them later or whatever, but we just have to get started. Wait, this is where I want to go. Got some cables blocking my screen there. You couldn't see them, but I could. So where do we have the new action? Up here. New. So this one, I guess we can call like add new file to project. And let's say that we will ask for a file name. So we'll make an input box. Let's make this, yeah, let's just use a simple input box for now. Construct, enter name of new file, new file to project, and I don't remember what else you have to pass, just a parent, right? And we just passed the window. What is it, the G window? Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then if input box exec is exec, or G input box exec cancel, then we'll just ignore it. Otherwise, the file name is going to be the input box text value. Okay, and then we will create a new file with that name. So C file, or construct file name, and file open, CIO device read write, or write only, actually, it's fine. If that fails, then we'll show a little message, maybe. Message box show. Fail to open, fail to create. Wait, do we have, does this create files? Must be new. Yeah, we should definitely add that mode. Write only, or CIA device must be new. Because we don't want to, we want to make sure that we're not overwriting something. And, oh crap, how do I do this? Okay, wait, hold on. One thing at a time. Error. Only an OK button, and we center it above G window, and then we return. Okay. Then passing multiple flags here, that doesn't work well because open actually takes an open mode like that, which is unfortunate. Because we can't OR these together because it's, why can't we OR them together? What if we just do that? Okay, yeah. I am a C++ beginner and I always mess this up. I hate this about C++ actually, that enums are so awkward and ORing them together is not straightforward. And I know that I can go and I can make a flags class abstraction or something, like Qt has that, which is really, really nice, but I just have to go and do that. I didn't do it yet. But, so for now, we're stuck with this, like, because when you OR these together, it becomes an int, because then you have to cast it to an open mode once again. Anyways. Okay, so now we have opened it, so we'll say file, truncate. Wait, what happens when we open with this mode? Let's take a look at it. Must be new. I guess we don't have to do anything really. We can just, the file should be created at this point. But are we passing ocreat? Yes, we are. Okay, so that's good. Then what we need to do is add it to the project. So G project, add file, file name. This of course does not exist yet, but it's going to. And then once we're done with all this, we can say open file, file name. Then it should pop up and be the current file. So let's go and look at project and add this functionality. So const string file name. And what's that going to do? Let's see. Well, I guess we're going to add it to the, what do we have in this thing? Files. Append, and, wait, what's in that list? I forget. It's a vector of text documents. And text document, we use construct with name, and then they're lazily loaded, right? Now remember. was really not that long ago that I was working on this, but it's still good to get a refresher. So text document, construct with name, file name. And then we have to update our model, because we have this model here that produces the list view contents that we see on the left hand side in the UI, and we have to actually update that model to make sure that, oh wait, hold on. If I call update, then this will do nothing. So we should be aware here that we need to call did update. Otherwise update will be a no op, right? Can't I just not override update? I forget how Gmodel works with this. Update, it's pure virtual. Okay, so I have to implement it. Even if it's just a call did update. Okay, so this will just ensure that the view gets repainted, because the view becomes aware, hey, something changed about the model, and it has to repaint itself or re-render itself, whatever. Okay, so let's try it. Of course, this is not going to add it to the make file or anything like that, because we're still, we don't have the build system inside of the Hack Studio, at least not yet. So this is just about adding it to this list of files here. So let's see how that would work. So add new file to project, foo cpp, and now we have foo cpp and it's open. And I guess it's probably that. So, but we still didn't add it to this file here. So let's see if we can do that. And we'll put something in here. Let's just say foo. And let's call that from main. Okay, and we build. Foo was not declared. Well, that's my bad. Cool. That's very cool. Okay, so now we can add a new file and it will show up and we can do all the things that you would expect. But we need to add it to the project file. So let's do that. So I guess when you add a file, we should update the, should write the project out to disk, basically. So in order to do that nicely, we should have the project object remember the path, the file name it was loaded from, so that it can write it back out, because it seems like we're not saving that anywhere. So we're just gonna, when we construct it, we're just gonna pass in the path that it was constructed from. Here, and path, okay. And there we go. And then we'll finally say write, I'm gonna save. Yeah. Let's implement project save. So file, cfile construct, mpath. File open, cfile, write only. Yeah. then if it fails to write, then I guess we should do a message box once again. Or no, actually, let's return a failure, because I don't want to start doing UI inside of the project class. That would be stupid. So we'll just return a bool. And what's that thing that you say? One unused? Wait, how do you type that? What is it? No discard. That's what I'm thinking of. This would make it it would provoke a warning if you call save without doing something with the return value. So see right here, ignoring return value of function with no discard attribute. So we should actually do this. I mean, this is kind of weird actually, because I guess add file should be able to fail as well. So no discard. And return false. So if this happens, it's kind of like I don't even want to write out the new stuff, and maybe save doesn't even need to be its own function now that I think about that, because it just kind of complicates things. So maybe what we should be doing is doing this first, and then if it succeeds, we'll add it to the thing and update. This makes a lot more sense. Okay. So for auto file files. Oh no. This is the let's rename this to project file. Wait, what is this thing complaining about? I don't know. Redundant Boolean literal and conditional return statement. Oh, it was depending on this. Okay. No, it's just confusing. It's good to build an IDE because it makes me extremely aware of what this IDE is doing. Because now I'm like constantly thinking, what stuff is good, what stuff is bad, what do I want to steal, what do I want to not have. And this like instant feedback stuff is very interesting, but it can also confuse you a lot. So it's very important to show helpful information instantly and not spam the user with like stuff that's not helpful, if that makes sense. It's obviously it's a tricky balance. It's hard to know what's useful and what's not. Anyways, so I can iterate over our files, and we want to write it out to the project file. So write file dot name. Wait, isn't there some easy API for this? There's printf. Pretty simple. Okay. Extremely pleasant. Wait, is that gonna work? Isn't that defined somewhere? No, it's not. Okay. It's being highlighted here as if it's a macro. Maybe it's because my Qt Creator thinks that I'm working on the kernel. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. As in the kernel, printf is a macro that just is defined to debug printf, which I'm not even sure why I did that. I think it was because I wanted some code that had printf in it to be able to compile in the kernel, but feel like maybe it's time to get rid of that macro. Anyways, there's no printf in the kernel, right? That's why. So we should add a new line after these, and then we'll say project file close. Return false. If that fails, printf will return what? An int. Returns how many characters were written. It does not. Right, we're not propagating failures to the client, so that sucks. Fix me. Check for error here. I guess if, or needs some help with error reporting. Need some work. Okay, so that should be good. Let's try it out. I forgot to have to add the new file as well. So let's just do file name characters. That's the file that we're adding, because these are just the old files. Or the current files in the project. Okay, and then we were not respecting no discard in main. Right here. So if it doesn't work, fail to add project. Okay, and yeah, maybe we should unlink the file at that point. Should we unlink the file here? Maybe. Okay, so foo cpp, boom. And in little files, we can now see foo cpp. How very nice is that? And we have a gratuitous new line at the end here, but I don't think that matters. That's really awesome. Okay, so let's commit this. Commit -a hack studio. Add implement implement adding a new file to the project. Okay, now press Control N to add a create and add a new file to the project. It's very cool. In fact, I'm going to use an exclamation point because that was cool. That was a cool new feature. So then let's do open as well, and this will be it's not even going to be open really. It's going to be add existing file. So maybe we should call it that. I feel a bit awkward with this looking like it's open when it's really like add existing, and I wish this icon would have a plus on it, but I don't want to draw icons right at this very moment, so I think maybe we can just use the open thingy as a placeholder, and then I can go and draw some icons later on when I'm in the icon mood, because you got to be in the icon mood to draw icons. Like I can't just sit and draw icons randomly. It's a spirit that comes over me, you know, like call it the icon fairy. Like the icon fairy comes and grants icons to things. But you got to wait for the icon fairy. Yeah, right. So let's maybe make a different action for this. So we'll call it add existing file action. G-action create. Add existing file to project. Actually, this one is a ... as well. Mod control. Oh crap! What's a good thing for this? Key. I don't know what the keybind should be. Maybe it shouldn't have a keybind at the moment. So let's just not have a keybind, and we'll load from file. So we'll use res icons 16 by 16 open PNG as a placeholder. Okay, and let's get rid of the open action. And we'll take this guy and put him here. Also in the menu, we'll also put him... Oh, we never put that in the menu actually. So we should have a project menu. Let's make one. Make a G menu that's called project. And add the new action. And add the add existing file action. And then we just have to add the project menu to the menu bar. And we're good. Okay. So, I mean, I was just adding to the menu bar, but they're still also going to be in the toolbar. So let's see, add existing file action. So here we are going to want to use the G file picker, which is a class that brings up like this dialog where you can choose an existing file from the file system. And I haven't worked on that class for quite a while, and I recall that it's not perfect. It's very far from perfect, but it's good to, that just means that it's good to start using it for something, because it'll annoy me somehow, and then we can see why and work from there. Okay, I'm lost. Where am I supposed to be? Here. Add existing file action. So actually it's starting to grow a little bit here. So add existing file action. Auto file picker. G file picker construct, and then I have to look up what are the arguments. It's all of these. Code completion is not cooperating with the construct macro, which is unfortunate, but I'm not quite sure how to solve that. So what construct does is that it's generated by the CObject macro, which is part of everything that inherits from the CObject class, and it is here. So it's a forwarding construction helper that ensures that because CObject derived classes are reference counted, as you can see here, they inherit from ref counted. Because they are, then we have to make sure that we adopt the initial one ref count when we construct a new one. So in order to prevent you from accidentally leaking by forgetting to adopt a new ref counted object, we force you to use construct, and then it just forwards the whatever arguments give it get forwarded to the constructor of the class. And then it gets packaged into a non-null refputter smart pointer and returned that way, so it's impossible to mess this up. The downside of this is that code completion in QCreator is not smart enough to understand that it should try to resolve the constructor arguments. And I'm not sure that it would ever try to figure that out or get smart enough to figure that out, because it would have to seriously understand what's going on in that macro. Anyways, so it's a sad thing. Maybe I could hack QCreator to solve it for me, but since I'm building an IDE here, it really seems like maybe we should try to do well in our own IDE instead. So, oh shit, actually, I think there's a helper that we can use. Yes, get open file path. Oh, that's what I should have been doing all along, just calling this instead of going into detail about the constructor issue. But at least then I got to talk about that, so that's also nice. So get open file path, convenient helper. So that has no arguments. Maybe it should actually allow you to customize title and stuff like that, the window title, but let's not care about that right now. File picker, exec, g file picker exec, cancel, and then we'll return. And oh shit, wait, I'm doing this all wrong. The file picker we don't get the file picker here. We get it gives us the result right back. So that's an optional. So we'll say result has value. If it has no value, then we can just return, because then it means the user pressed cancel. Otherwise, file name is going to be result.value. Okay, and then at this point, we should probably just add it to the project. Add file name. Let's do it this way. We should definitely not unlink the file in this case, because it's an existing file. So the reason I mentioned this up here is that if we create a new file and then we fail to add it to the project, then maybe we should get rid of the new file we created. But I'm not sure if that's a good behavior, or maybe it is. Anyways, certainly if you try to add an existing file, we don't want to unlink or remove that file from the file system if it fails to get added to the project. We just want to leave it alone in that case. Okay, now things got all weird, so let's do a full rebuild. Okay, what is happening here? We are missing libthread. Oh, I guess we need libthread because the file picker depends on libthread. That just means that we have to add it to the makefile. Where does it go? Maybe here? lthread. Libthread has some convenient things for scheduling like a background task or background action, and it's used by gfilepicker to do thumbnailing, like a thumbnail generation for directory views. So anyways, here's the open file. Is not, yeah, it says open file. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that because I wanted to say add existing file, but basically we can go and add some existing files. So let's add rainbow CPP in my home directory, and it made it show up right here, and it's now part of the project. And if we cancel, then nothing happens. Likewise, if we add a new file, cancel, nothing happens. That's pretty cool. And it's nice to see that this just highlights this kind of correctly-ish. Actually, I don't really see any glaring problems. I mean, it's weird that const, because const is part of the type here, so maybe we should, const should really be considered type-related keyword rather than just a generic keyword. But details. And these are just details. Kind of feel like maybe these should not be bold. Like keyword identifiers are currently bold, and it makes everything bold basically, which isn't really what I wanted. But let's see. So now we were just adding the add existing file thing, so let's do that. Or actually, let me do this first. In gfilepicker, let's add a way to override the title, because you can already do that with get save file path? Can you? G file picker. Mode. G dialog inherits from G window. Okay, so const string window title, and we'll just default to an empty null string. And then const string window title. And then here we can say if window title is null. If it's not null, actually, then picker set window title, picker, not picked. And, oh, I guess it's just title, actually. Okay, and that should allow us to specify a window title and get open file path. So add existing file, project. I think this will look nicer. Oh, I'm not in Serenity yet. Okay, here we are. Add existing file to project. That's very, very nice. Okay, then we'll add the t.c, which is a hello world program. Plop. Oh, and it doesn't syntax highlight because it ends in .c. We only do .cpp so far, but we could probably afford to highlight .c as well. But that's not something that I'm going to do right now. Because it wouldn't, maybe we should teach it how to differentiate between the two, because there are like things that are keywords in C++ that are not keywords in C, obviously. So I wouldn't want it to get that wrong. So let's see, G file picker, allow overriding the window title. Allow passing an override window title to get open file path. Writing the window title for get open file path. Okay. And then here, yeah, right. So hack studio, implement, add existing file to project. Okay, I'm gonna follow the same. Implement adding an existing file to project. Cool beans. So actually, it was kind of annoying that when I added the file, it didn't open it right away. So let me do that also. And we'll just because I'm just going to check that that made sense, but I feel like it's irritating if you add an existing file and it doesn't also open it, because that's definitely what you want. At least 9 times out of 10, I'd imagine that that's what you want. So that's what I would want, at least. It's a good thing about this whole project, because I always know what target audience thinks, or like the end user, because it's me every time. So I can always ask him, like, what would you prefer? It's very, very nice to be able to do that. Right, so I don't have a keybind for it, but let me add, I don't know, my file txt. This is a nonce file. It opened up right nice. Maybe when we open a file, we should also focus the editor, now that I think about it. Because it's weird that I can't start moving right away. So let's do that. Open file, blah, 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 everything works out. Then we will just do G text editor set focus true. We'll see that it works out all right. Dum, dum, dum. Yeah, now it gets focused right away. That's really cool. So we add a new file. Hello, CPP. Hello, friend. All right, that's awesome. Hack Studio focused on text editor after opening a new file. After opening a file. Yeah, and then let me tweak the style of the identifiers. So currently, the token type identifier, we use this color and then a bold fixed width font, but let's just not override the font. And we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, that looks a lot nicer, actually. Because then only the types and keywords end up in bold, which makes them stand out a bit more. So you would do like int I is 0, I 2, you know, plus I, things like that. I is D. I like just playing around in this environment and trying to use it a little bit every now and then, because look at that, it works. Because I have to use this more and more, and you know, really get a feel for how to be comfortable with it. So the more I use it, the more like little things I can discover are good or bad or whatever. So that's really cool. Yeah. So now we can add existing files. That's so cool. And I don't know what I want to do more. Maybe I should just commit what I did here. Okay, Hack Studio, tweak, tweak style of C++ identifiers. On second thought, let's not have bold identifiers, as this ended up making most of the C++ code bold, negating making most of the code bold. Yeah. One of those little guys here. Yeah, right. So I guess maybe that's gonna be it for today's video. So it's a little bit more of chill video today, not this intense syntax highlighting 2-hour implementation yesterday. But you know, still making good progress, adding reasonable features, and yeah. So I'm pretty happy with this. As you can see, it persisted across a boot, by the way, which is really useful. So I guess I'll just say, if you made it this far in the video, then thank you for hanging out and for watching, for coming back. It's always good to have you all here, and I hope you saw something interesting, and I hope you liked the series so far. I certainly like working on this, and yeah, subscribe for more content like this, I guess, if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you next time.